Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Lindsay. Your teacher has asked me to read Chapter 6 of Turtle in Paradise. So sit back and relax. Chapter 6 The Truth of the Matter. Kids lie. We have to, or we'd never get anything. But grown-ups lie too. They just do it differently. They leave things out. They don't give you the whole story. I'm sitting on the porch with Buddy, playing with my paper dolls. They're Kewpie dolls, baby girls wearing diapers with big, wide eyes. Mama gave them to me for my last birthday. These were mine when I was your age, she told me. Buddy's not very interested in the dolls. Don't you want to play marbles, he asked. Aunt Minnie pokes her head out the front door, saying, Buddy, don't you get to playing and forget to go. I'm tired of washing your pants. And then lets out a shriek. Smokey's so startled she leaps off the porch and runs under the house. Where did you get those dolls? Aunt Minnie demands. I hesitate and then say, Mama gave them to me for my birthday. Those are my dolls. She said they were hers, I say. Well, she must have forgotten about stealing them from me, Aunt Minnie says with emphasis. I look down at the dolls and back at Aunt Minnie. Are you sure they're the same dolls? You think I don't know my own dolls? My aunt asks and holds out her hand. You want them back? Of course I want them back. They're mine, aren't they? I pile the dolls up and hand them to her. She snatches them and gives a satisfied smile. Do I want my dolls back? After she walks inside, Buddy turns to me and asks, Do you want to play marbles now? The next morning, I'm watching the boys run around the lane like a bunch of wild animals. They're playing a game they call Clee, which looks like tag from where I'm sitting. Kermit's the fastest of them all, tearing headlong across the lane, dodging this boy and that. For a kid with a bad heart, he sure can run. I shouldn't have been so surprised about Aunt Minnie and the paper dolls. Mama's always been a little funny with the truth. Sure, she told me lots of things about Key West, how poinciana trees look like they're on fire when they're blooming, and that the old conch houses were built by shipwrights to sway in the storms like boats. But she left out the important parts, like about my father. All she ever told me is that he was a fisherman, and that he said he loved her. And when she told him she was expecting his baby, she waited a whole week, but he didn't ask her to marry him. A week's a long time when you're waiting on a man, I guess. Mama left Key West and hasn't been back since. My father could have 3 eyes or be a murderer, for all I know. Still, I miss Mama so much I barely know what to do. We've never been apart. I worry about her being by herself. I've been here for 2 weeks now, and I've only talked to her once. I called from Mrs. Lowe's house, Puddin's mother, because Aunt Minnie doesn't have a telephone. Not that we got to say more than 2 words. It's me, Mama, I said when she answered. I made it. Oh, baby, Mama said, and she sounded so far away. I was so worried. Just hearing her voice made me feel like I was wrapped in a soft blanket. Mama, I started to say, but then I heard Mrs. Butnick in the background. Sadie Bell, you know I don't allow the help to use my personal telephone. Sorry, ma'am, Mama murmured to Mrs. Butnick. To me, she said, I have to go, baby. I'll write you. Mrs. Butnick could give old Scrooge a run for his money. Aunt Minnie's voice rings through the hot air. Kermit! Kermit! She's striding down the lane, Buddy stumbling to keep up with her. Kermit freezes mid-step, closing his eyes as she bears down on him. Aunt Minnie's like a lawyer interrogating a witness. Look at you, all sweaty. Were you running around playing that wild game? No, Ma, he says, looking down at his bare feet. It's just the heat. You know Doc Parrish said you're not supposed to run around. She turns and looks at the other boys. Was Kermit running around? All the boys shake their head, eyes wide as saucers. There's a chorus of no ma'ams. Honest, Miss Curry, Porkchop says, his voice so sincere that I almost expect a halo to pop up over his head. Honest? You boys are about as honest as a drunk in a tavern. She whirls on Kermit. If I so much as catch you walking fast, I will box your ears. You hear me? Yes, ma'am, Kermit said, looking chastened. Your heart can give out at any minute, she adds. Yes, ma'am. Buddy saves Kermit from the rest of Aunt Minnie's lecture. Ma, Ma, Buddy says, hopping up and down. I gotta go. I really gotta go. Oh, come on, Buddy, Aunt Minnie says, and she walks off, pulling Buddy behind her. You better make it to the outhouse this time. Kermit sits down next to me on the porch and groans. Sometimes I think it would have been better if I just died in the first place. He looks at me. You want to go to Duval Street? All right, I say, and we get up and start walking. We had just turned the corner of Curry Lane when I ask, would your heart really give out from running around? I don't know, he says with a mischievous grin. Want to find out? And he takes off down the street. Duval Street's like a different Key West. It's nicer. Kermit tells me they're trying to get tourists to come down here to vacation. There are all sorts of businesses. Garner's Pharmacy, Einhorn's Grocery, the Plaza Restaurant, the Blue Heaven, which serves refreshments and beer, a big building called the Cuban Club, and a fancy hotel called the Key West Colonial Hotel. There's even a movie theater. Too bad it's playing a Shirley Temple picture. It seems like everyone on this island has a funny nickname, because the whole time we're walking, Kermit's greeting this person and that one. Hi, Cheap John. Hi, Tutu Mama. Hi, Kitty Gray. Hiya, Fat Rat. You tried the donuts today? He's like the mayor, except he's 9. We pass folks left and right who are speaking Spanish. It's the second language here because of all the Cuban folks. Even Aunt Minnie speaks it a bit. Say, you know where I could get a job? I asked Kermit. Girls aren't allowed in the diaper gang, he says. A real job, I say. I need to make some dough. What for? So Mama and I can buy the Bellwood, I say. What's the Bellwood? I pull out the catalog page and show it to him. Monthly payments as low as $30 to $45. Kermit reads and gives a low whistle. That sure is a lot of dough. Got any ideas? Kermit looks thoughtful. Why don't you ask Johnny Cakes? I hear he's always looking for help. What kind of business does he have? He's a rum runner. He's got a fast boat. He likes to run around with bottles of rum? Kermit gives me a funny look. No, he runs it. He brings it in from the Bahamas. He lowers his voice to a whisper. It's illegal. Where can I find this Johnny Cakes fellow? I asked. He's probably at Pepe's. Kermit takes me to a little cafe that's crowded with tables and folks sitting around drinking coffee. There he is, Kermit says, pointing at a handsome man wearing a smart white linen suit. There's another man at the table, a big fellow with a mustache. They're drinking leche out of condensed milk cans. Leche is a Cuban coffee with a lot of milk. Everyone seems to drink it down here, even kids. I saw a toddler sucking down a leche a few days ago. We walk over to the table and Kermit says, Hi, Johnny Cakes. Well, 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 if it isn't our Kermit, the handsome man says with a broad smile. And who's this lovely lady? This is my cousin Turtle. Pleased to meet you, sweet cheeks, Johnny Cakes says. I hear you've got a fast boat, I say. Fast enough, he says, smiling. You hiring? I asked. He looks a little uncomfortable. I don't normally hire kids. Well, I don't mind illegal activities, long as I get paid, I said. Johnny Cake blanches. What is it you think I'd do? Kermit says you're a rum runner, I say. I'm not a rum runner, sweet cheeks, Johnny Cake says, his voice smooth. I'm a businessman. Import, export. Kermit looks confused. But Cousin Dizzy said last Saturday you brought in a haul of the best rum he ever tasted. He's got you there, Johnny, the other man said, bellowing with laughter. You a rum runner too? I asked the man. Kermit says, nah, he's just a writer. You write anything good? I asked. What do you mean good? The man says. You know, like for the funny pages. I tick off my favorites on my fingers. I like Little Orphan Annie and Terry the Pirates and Flash Gordon. Me too, Kermit adds. I love Flash Gordon. Slowpoke walks up and puts an envelope on the table in front of Johnny Cakes, who picks it up and slides it into his suit pocket without looking at it. Maybe you should start writing for the funny pages, Papa, Slowpoke says, and the writer fellow grunts. You like the funny pages? I asked Slowpoke. Terry and the Pirates is my favorite, he says. You got good taste, I say. Johnny Cake asks Slowpoke, you hear about the auction? Must be a war coming, Slowpoke says. Who's fighting? I asked. There's just an old sponger saying, honey, Slowpoke says, sponges are used to clean wounds. So if someone's buying a lot of them, we say they're getting ready to start a war. There's a sponge auction coming up soon. I'm heading out tomorrow to catch what I can to sell at it. You need any help? I asked, because this fellow won't hire me to run his illegal liquor. Johnny Cake groans in exasperation. Slowpoke looks at me for a long moment and then says, I suppose I could use another hand, honey. All right, I say. Slowpoke laughs. Meet me at the dock at dawn. My boat, the Lost Love. And then he tips his hat and walks off whistling. Been out fishing with Slowpoke once or twice myself, the writer fellow says. He's a first-rate sailor. You know, you'll never get famous unless you write those funny pages, I tell him. He gives me a stern look. You in the habit of giving grown folks advice, young lady? Sure, I say. You're the ones who need it the most.